Life is sweet. Let it sweep you off your feet.
Hi, I'm Allie, and this is Find Your Joy. And today I'm thrilled to have Adriana Stuyvesant. And Adriana is here, and she's going to talk to us about coaching for optimizing blood sugars. Adriana comes from an amazing background of teaching special ed, insurance, coaching, and now she is delving into ways to make us healthier and watch our blood sugars. Does that sound about right, Adriana?
You got it.
Yeah, awesome. So I'd love to hear. That's quite the journey from teaching special ed and all these different things. So tell me a little bit about what got you here.
Well, after, I was teaching for a while, for about 10 years, and then my kids were born. And I just, as they were growing up, I substitute taught just to remind myself how much I didn't want to go teach anymore, full time.
That's awesome.
And then at some point when my kids were basically teenagers, my husband was killed in a terrible bike accident.
Oh,
And
sorry.
I had to figure out what I was going to do to replace his income because my substituting wasn't going to cut it. And I know I didn't want to teach. And then I went to a college class that it was for career planning for adults in transition. And here I was, a teacher who wanted to go into corporate America and maybe do training. And there was a whole room full of people from corporate America who wanted to get the hell out of corporate America and go into teaching. And I thought, oops, this might not work out as well as I thought.
That's awesome.
So I tried different things. I did get license for insurance and mutual funds, and I did that. And I enjoyed teaching people about it, but it was like banging my head against the wall because I wasn't gonna, I would give them really good ideas and what would be best for them, but
Right.
They wouldn't buy. So that went nowhere.
Right.
And but meanwhile, I'd been taking other courses and going to seminars. I, I, well, I've now kind of stopped for the most part in person, but I was a seminar junkie. Now I think I'm a course junkie. But I did start, I've invested in real estate, and that's really going very well.
Oh, wonderful.
And I can help others do passively invest in real estate, but it's not my heart. It's a very good way to make money and stuff, but it's just not my heart. And at some point, I've always liked sugar growing up. I mean, I think I've been a sugarholic from the day I was born. And and I knew that wasn't a good thing. And I knew that there was adult onset diabetes in my family.
Right.
And I just didn't want to go there. But I couldn't stop eating sugar.
Okay.
And then as I got older, the doctor would say, oh, your numbers are a bit high, but don't worry about it. They didn't say pre-diabetes or metabolic syndrome or all the things they're talking about. Not until my numbers got up too high and, they said, oh, you've got diabetes. I said, oh God.
Wow.
That's not what I wanted. But I knew I was not doing the things that I needed to be doing. So I went on a quest to find all different natural ways of lowering my blood sugar. And at some point, I've learned a lot of things. I practice a lot of things. Some work better than others. Everyone's an individual. I did get put on a little bit of like the tiniest dose of medicine, which I I resisted for way too long.
Okay.
But now I'm off of that, and I
Yay.
never, I'm not taking medicine. I'm eating a lot better. I'm doing a lot of things that need to be done. I've taken a lot of different courses. Some are very practical, hands-on, what to do, what not to do. But others, like I've taken a number of energetic healing courses so I can help myself and others do some healing. I've learned I use EFT, emotional freedom technique, and
Yes.
hypnosis and NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. And I
Yes.
sometimes combine them in ways that you might not have really ever seen before.
Oh,
And
that sounds interesting.
they're all great by themselves, but
Yes,
combined, there's a synergy there that just is wonderful. And
absolutely.
so it sounds like you've had your own struggles with some of this.
I have. I'm so interested in what you're saying. It's when I first was hearing you, I was thinking that we were you were doing blood sugars only, which is fabulous in and of itself. And listening to you, just where you've come from being suddenly widowed and a single mom, and exploring all the different options, and now you're looking at the medical or physical aspects, and you're looking at the energetic aspects, and then the mental and emotional aspects. So that's huge. That's an incredible, what would I want to call it, that's an incredible bag of tricks you bring to your clients.
Right. I keep adding tools to my toolbox
Yes.
because, there's some people like my daughter, for instance, if a doctor said to her, never eat this kind of food again, that food would be dead to her. She would
Wow.
never ever eat it. For
Impressive.
people like me, it would be, I might not eat it for 6 months or a year, but going down the road, I might bump into that food at some event and say, oh, well, I can have just one
Right.
and eat it, and maybe just have two or three, but then within a week, I'll start eating that again.
Right. So
So
giving it up when you have to, and then it's easy to forget the impact that it has, right?
right. It's a it's an ongoing process for many of us.
Right.
And we need support. So I'm forming a group coaching program where women can get together, and there could be men, but mainly I'm targeting women over 50,
Mhm.
um, and getting them into better habits and supporting each other and learning some of these techniques that where they can stop their sugar cravings, or at least get their food that they crave excuse me, down to a normal portion.
Right, moderation and
Yeah.
all that good stuff that we got told so long ago. I can barely spell it. How does anybody expect me to do it? I totally, you know what, relating so much to what you're saying, and it's funny you're saying things that I'm going, oh, I talked about that in my book, or oh, I've lived that experience or something, because I know it's one thing to know that I shouldn't do something, but we're not all wired that way, that we just, oh, I'm just never going to do that again. Now it's just,
Right.
I mean, I can understand that some people who are like your daughter might not understand that, but maybe that is not the way she's wired. I am a person who is wired that way. Okay, I have some things I'm anaphylactic to, and so for sure I won't have those ever again. But I can be like literally having something that I know, I start to like chocolate. I love chocolate. And quite often, if I have chocolate, within 15 minutes, my heart races, I get woo woo. I've just, see, it doesn't kill me. It needs to be a life-threatening situation for me. So, so I think I'm a really good candidate for what you're talking about, because excuse me, I get it. I get why it can be a challenge. So you're coming up with some really good ways for people to have some alternatives, to find some choices, to make it maybe a priority, make ourselves a priority so that we don't do that. So tell me a bit about that. When you're working with someone, say like tapping, like I love EFT, NLP, energy work. I love all of that. I love learning about it. I love receiving it. I love being part of it. And see, it's another thing. I'm a glutton for that too. I just love it. So, so tell me a little bit about how you do that with your clients and in your own life. How does that work for you?
Ah,
I know, such a big question. You can shrink it down and just give me your top 3,000 points if you like.
well, one, EFT is a real good basis for clearing a lot of emotions out and working with all of this. It's just a great tool. And there, you can look up EFT, you can Google it and find many things online about how it actually works and how you can use it. But what you won't find online is how I combine EFT with some NLP into exercises that are just take the cravings out of a food that you crave.
Wow, that's amazing.
Or stop emotional eating. And some of these I try to do every day. Some I just do as needed,
Mhm.
when appropriate. One thing that has that I've learned recently, really, that I've added is I've learned they've done a study where people who exercise in the morning and walk at noon and exercise at night, but they sit all day long at a desk and
Right.
they don't move. And they're there for what, 7, 8, 9, 10, who knows how many hours, versus people who set an alarm for every 20 minutes and they don't exercise at all, but they set an alarm and every 20 minutes they stand up they just stand up and sit down.
Wow.
They end up in better health than the people who are exercising but sitting all day.
Isn't that something? You know what that makes me think of? When you go on an overseas flight and they tell you to just get up and walk around a little bit and then go sit down again. So, the whole blood clot thing and things like that. I wonder if it's related to that somehow. When you said that, I thought, oh no, that's an exercise regime I can get into. But I can set my watch for every 20 minutes and stand up. Woo woo! Look at me go. I think that would be fabulous.
Your
I'm
body
writing
will
that
love you
down.
for it.
Well, that's awesome because it's had a lot to complain about. I've been doing baking lately. That's awesome. I really, really like that. I was going to tell you, I have a very dear friend who's into NLP, and he's introduced me to EFT, the tapping and things like that. And I was quite resistant to tapping. I'm going to tell you the truth at first. And I'll look side to side. Oh, no one's listening. I can tell you this most embarrassing story. So my friend the first few times we did tapping, I was so shut down, there was nothing getting in, right? There's no way I'm going to be doing anything. But we did the tap, we did this tapping one time. And about 3 hours later, I phoned him and I said, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe what happened. I had to go to the washroom about every 20 minutes. I had running around to do, and I was pulling over to every gas station because I said, it's like I was drinking beer all night or something. And I said, something happened physically, like a release occurred. It had to have, because that's what happened to me. I was releasing fluid, and maybe no one wants to hear that story, but I'm telling you, that was my first experience of really seeing the impact that EFT had. And then from there, I was more and more open, and it was changing and shifting things for me emotionally, for sure. And yeah, so that's my EFT story.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, well, it's, now everybody knows when I pee, but it's just what happened. What can I tell you? And to me, it was a big deal because it really showed me something shifted. I couldn't deny that. I couldn't have said, "Oh, I just feel better because I thought I was going to." It doesn't, this was a physical response to what had happened. So anybody listening, if you haven't tried EFT, the tapping yet, I really highly recommend it. It's wonderful. So there's a whole bunch of other things that you were telling me a little bit about that you've been doing around optimizing blood sugars. So what are some of the things you do specifically for that around your energy work and that? How does that work?
I'd love to tell you about that, but I think they said our time is drawing to a close,
They
and
did?
I want to give you my contact information, so if anyone wants to get a hold of me and join me in this quest, that you'll be able to get a hold of me.
Absolutely. We can go to that
and
right
then if
now.
we have
I thought we
time,
had another 10 minutes. You can't slow me down. I'm excited. So please do tell us exactly how to get a hold of you.
okay. Well, my email, okay, I thought I cut this off. Okay, my email is adrianasmind@gmail.com. That's spelled ADRIANASMIND and to text me, it's 408-642-0897.
Beautiful. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And again, anyone, Adriana's Mind at gmail.com, and her phone number that she's given you. And there will be at the end of this show, there will be her contact information will be in print there so that you'll be able to see that. Thank you so much for being here today, Adriana. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you, and I've learned a lot, and I'm excited about going forward and maybe even joining your group that you've got coming up. And I'm Allie, and thanks again for being here, and go and find your joy. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you found a piece of your joy in this episode, I would love to hear about what came up for you so that we can continue to grow the impact of this show. Thanks again. See you soon. And remember, find your joy.